Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2, joining me today is Rasco of Rasco's Modern Life. Hello, Rasco.
Howdy.
Howdy indeed, howdy indeed. Let me just say to everyone listening that you can now download episodes of Geeky Gentlemen, listen on the go. New episodes are posted with the episodes on YouTube. There's a link in the description so you can go download. Old episodes can be posted by request. Just check out the Geeky Gentlemen playlist. Find an old episode that you want to listen to, but maybe you want to listen to it on the go. Leave a comment on the episode, and I will upload it on your behalf. No worries whatsoever. I got you. Anyway, Rasco, what are we talking about today?
Today, we is talking about Mortal Kombat Legacy?
It's hard to say. I'm going to have a real tough-ass time with this title. So we're talking about the Mortal Kombat series Legacy and the fan film Rebirth, which is what made Legacy happen.
Oh.
And we really, because this is quote-unquote fan film reviews, in the most literal sense, we should only talk about Mortal Kombat Rebirth, the 8-minute short. But it's hard not to talk about Legacy, even though it's officially licensed by Warner Brothers.
Oh.
It's a really hard thing to talk about because, I mean, it's got all the same people are involved. Michael J. White and fucking Jerry Ryan. Come on now. They're in both. It's Legacy wouldn't have happened if not for Rebirth, so I don't know, man. It's hard not to talk about Legacy, and it's still written and directed by the same guy.
Which is weird, because it changes.
Yeah, it changes very drastically, and I did a little bit of research on this, not as much as I probably should have. It changes pretty drastically, and for, I think, reasonably good reasons.
Okay.
The main thing to take away is his original idea for Rebirth didn't gel well with what they were wanting to do. Or, okay, so he makes Rebirth. It accidentally gets posted to YouTube as public because he didn't know how to use YouTube. He just meant to upload it as private and then, share it with a friend, but it went public and then exploded. At least that's what he says. And so his initial plan for Rebirth was kind of this very Nolanized take on Mortal Kombat, where it wasn't a mystical tournament, it was like this underground fighting ring kind of thing. Yeah. And Warner Brothers really liked the response that it got and everything, but both, I believe it's Unreal that does Mortal Kombat, both Unreal and Warner Brothers felt that it was too far away from the core property, so they wanted him to keep the tone, keep the people involved, but just to do something more in line with the original games. And so that's where the Legacy comes from.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, so it's hard. Really, we should only be discussing Rebirth, but I find Legacy really interesting because this is the first example of the studios embracing a fan film and running with it that I think we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And so it would feel like a mistake not to talk about Legacy.
All
right, so what do you think of Rebirth?
Okay, with Rebirth, I liked that more than I liked Legacy. Because I'm kind of the mindset of, if you're going to do a web series budgeted Mortal Kombat show, I say kind of go for an extremely weird take on Mortal Kombat. Because it's going to be, you can do more and make more believable, and it's just kind of an interesting thing at that point. Because I remember when this came out, it was at a weird stage in the internet where people really kind of like to see taking something and doing a weirder, darker version of it because of Christopher Nolan. That was a big peak in Christopher Nolan's notoriety, I guess, amongst people. And so a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's really cool to take a property and kind of put it through some sort of a grounded lens." And so I thought that so I very distinctly remember when this came out. I never watched any of the Legacy stuff though. So I'd only seen this, and I gotta say, I liked the Rebirth thing more than the Legacy stuff because I actually liked how they chose to go with this weird kind of like grounded Mortal Kombat take.
So let me just pause to guess here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You were in love with Legacy up until the very end of the third episode, then.
Which was the third episode? Was that
Johnny Cage episode.
Okay, yeah, John. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, you were probably absolutely in love with it until that point.
I wouldn't say I was in love with it, but I was like enjoying it. I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of, I'm liking this. And then once it got into the katana and
Melina.
yeah, I was like, okay.
Malia, not Melina. Sorry.
I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, now this is kind of just Mortal Kombat on an internet budget now.
That's a fair point. That is a really fair point. For me, what I love about Legacy and, by extension, Rebirth is the tone of it. Just this, like, very gritty, harsh, realistic tone, but with a hint of mysticism. And I think that I will agree the Malia and Katana story is probably the weakest part, especially because it's 2 parts, and then it has the animated sections, so it's a bit of a jumbled mess in those 2 episodes. But at the same time, the exact same kind of tone and the exact same intention is there once we get to Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and those episodes worked fantastically for me. I don't know, how did you feel the same about the Scorpion Sub-Zero as you did about the Malia, or no?
That was a better episode. A lot of the episodes I have with the Katana episode was that it was just literally this giant narrated story, and it was just a bunch of telling and not showing, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really like that. The Scorpion Sub-Zero one, that one was much better, but at the end of the day, I still think that I could have been more intrigued by kind of a weird, different take on Scorpion and Sub-Zero, where they're part of inner city Yakuza clan culture instead of actual samurais or something like that. I think there's other ways you could have taken it, and so it works and it's fine, but at that point it's them more successfully doing kind of just Mortal Kombat on an internet budget, whereas they were unsuccessfully doing Mortal Kombat on an internet budget with the Katana episode. So I think overall, I don't know. I would have liked if the whole Legacy series had kind of gone more with the original vision for that short film.
That's fair, and I do like things about Rebirth, but it's weird the way I watch this because fucking Christ, the way this is organized online.
I know.
But the way I watch this is I watched through all of Legacy and I was like, no, wait, I specifically remember something with Reptile at one point. So then I searched Mortal Kombat Rebirth again and just found the 8-minute trailer ... pitch. And I was like, what? And then I watched that and then I did my research and I was like, oh, well, this is just a nightmare of playlist things. You get to the machine. How did you watch it? Did you watch Legacy with the Machinima
Okay,
playlist?
there was the Machinima playlist, but then there was blocked videos in the playlist or unlisted videos in the playlist.
Right?
So I had to go to the other channel's playlist to watch the other episodes.
That was so stupid.
Yeah.
This is what happens. I'm glad. This is why I kind of like WB at times as a company, because they don't do there are scandals that break with other companies, Paramount being the most notable one right now, where they try their best to limit fan expression and stuff, and I've not heard a story about WB doing that. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but nothing major has come out about them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when they get involved with this kind of thing, it makes it a bit of a nightmare to be able to just fucking find.
Yeah, you would think that's... Yeah, it's weird.
So anyway, so I watched through Legacy, and then I watched Rebirth, and then I did my research. But, so maybe it's because I watched it in that order. that I like Legacy just a bit more. And I do get where you're coming from with the idea of like the Nolanized take on stuff, but maybe I would have liked that more in 2011, 2010, 2011.
Yeah,
The
the thing is, I'm remembering back to how I felt about it then.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of like taking those feelings and putting them towards this again with the context of remembering when this came out.
Yeah, and like I do remember watching this when this came out too, and I quite enjoyed it. And then I like got lost halfway through with watching it in series on Legacy, so I dropped off. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I really do. I understand what was appealing about the Nolan tone, but we've gotten so much of that badly that I just don't care for that approach.
Yeah.
Anymore. I like a gritty, realistic, grounded tone, but I don't mind putting mysticism in there. Where I think that works here is with the Raiden episode.
To an extent, yeah, I would say.
Uh-huh.
Because that didn't feel so much like it was just doing Mortal Kombat at that point. That did feel like an actual different take on Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm. So, like, maybe it's just a case of he didn't have any, like, really good ideas, original ideas to add to the Malia and Katana thing, but they are kind of really centrally tied into the whole story of Mortal Kombat. And it's important to mention also that Mortal Kombat Legacy is a prequel series to the first game. How weird that we've done that 2 picks of mine in a row now.
Wait.
Because that was what Sonic Prologue was. It was a prologue to the second game.
Wait. So the series that we just watched, that we're reviewing,
yes,
is a prequel to the first game?
Yes.
Okay. That's weird.
Like, I haven't played the first Mortal Kombat in years, but, like, you pretty much know what it is because it's Mortal Kombat. It's not that, hard to figure out. The only character, like, major character, at least, that's missing is fucking Liu Kang.
Yeah. Why?
We get a Johnny Cage episode that's objectively awesome, but no Liu Kang? What the shit?
Yeah, that's really weird. What the fuck? Where's Liu Kang? You could have done a Liu Kang Kung Lao episode or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's in season 2. And I did consider watching season 2 for this, but that would have probably been too much content. So, I don't know. I do like Legacy. I do like the approach of Legacy more so just because I feel like it's more timeless. I feel like to enjoy Rebirth, you have to put yourself in the context, in the period of when that came out, in the height of Nolanism.
Yeah, because there's a fine line between early 2000s superhero movies and Nolan movies. And then there's the modern superhero movie, where we'll kind of do the superhero stuff. Sometimes we'll mess with things to make things a little bit less goofy. That was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with the Green Goblin's costume. Then you get to Nolan, where it becomes, okay, no, instead of like just kind of making things a little bit less goofy, we like ground them in a slightly more realistic world. Like we do that. And there's a slight difference. And if you're watching this from now, it's hard to tell which of those it falls into. Me remembering when it came out, I know that it was the Nolan thing and not we're afraid to do it straight up, so we'll kind of do it.
Yeah, certainly. And, like, that's the thing is, they definitely, there is a lot of imagination. I mean, their pitch for Baraka in that universe is fucking crazy, but also kind of awesome.
And he looks cool. Like, I love the dreads. The dreads are awesome.
Yeah, it's weird to take Baraka, who is, at least in my mind, always been bald.
Yeah.
And then, but whatever. It's cool. Do what you want. No, I agree. It's definitely a really interesting approach. But that's why I like Legacy more, is it's infinitely more interesting than the other 2 Mortal Kombat movies. I would love to sit there and watch Legacy all day rather than either of the original Mortal Kombat movies that came out in the 90s.
I agree totally, because I think it's funny you said that, because while I was watching this, I was literally like, wow, this is showing me that, yeah, like you could do a really cool Mortal Kombat movie if you wanted to. And the thing is, if you did it with confidence and you got the right team on it, we're kind of going through a little bit of a renaissance with people really starting to appreciate like action movies that are like ballets of action again. So we had that with like John Wick, where people like stopped and appreciated, like, whoa, this is like really well choreographed. This is almost kind of like there's almost like a silent film going on during some of these fighting scenes where it's just like a dance almost, and you're like, this is cool. You got that with Winter Soldier, when like everyone was like, oh my God, some of the fighting in that, like some of the choreography is like amazing. And then like that's carried on with that. We had Mad Max. And we're getting back into this thing where we kind of like are trying to find the artistry in action movies again.
Yeah, and like it's weird because we had the 80s where everything was just really cool, hand to hand or really, down to earth action. But then we got away from that throughout the 90s, and then in the early 2000s we have the Bourne series come out where they go, "Oh, you can do an action movie and just focus on the story by shooting the action in such a way that your actors don't actually have to know how to fight." And so that's where you got the shaky cam era of action.
Yeah.
And there are 3 ways to shoot an action scene. The first way is you need actors that actually know how to fight, and you shoot most of your stuff from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
The second way is you have actors who don't necessarily know how to fight but have a really well choreographed scene, and so you shoot at kind of a mid-distance and do a lot of intercutting. And then the third way is you have actors who have no idea how to fight at all, don't want to take the time to learn the choreography, and so you do really close, like shaky cam, just fucking whatever. No one will be able to tell what's going on, but it'll look intense.
Yeah.
And so this is very much a blending of the first and second options in Mortal Kombat Rebirth and Legacy. Michael J. White did the Undisputed movies, and I'm pretty sure he's had MMA training as well as being an actor. I need to look up more on Michael J. White. Anyway, so like he's an actor that actually knows what he's doing. Sonya Blade, Jerry Ryan, she doesn't know how to fight, and they don't show her doing it. So like there's things mixed in here that I think are quite brilliant to that point of there's more of an appreciation for the combat, the art of combat on film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that point made any sense. It might have kind of gotten away from it there.
Yeah. Bottom line is Mortal Kombat. Get another shot at movies. Come on, let's do it.
Well, you can buy this and Season 2. You can buy Mortal Kombat Legacy and Season 2 on DVD. I imagine Rebirth is probably included as like a bonus feature or
Should
something.
be.
Yeah. And so like I like Legacy more because it's more timeless and how fun given the name. It still has problems. The Malia, and I feel like I'm saying her name wrong.
It's Malia or Melina? It's Melina.
Is it Melina?
I think it's Melina.
I'm just gonna say Katana and her bitch mouth sister that I don't want a blowjob from. You can find. I have no idea who takes the time to do this with how difficult CGI is. Adult content warning, everyone. You can find CG animated porn of Malia from Mortal Kombat giving a blowjob. It is like the most terrifying thing I could ever imagine.
Oh.
It's like sticking your dick in a beehive. But anyway, you can the Katana story is probably the weakest thing. I think it would have been at least more watchable if it wasn't cutting back and forth between 2D animation. That's the part that made it really goddamn distracting.
Yeah, that was weird. And that was weird, that was lazy. And that episode had a cool fight. It was just a fucking lazy episode though.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's not really a matter of laziness. It's a matter of they don't have the means to make it happen on
Well,
screen.
no. I agree. It's not laziness in that way. It's kind of laziness in a from a writing perspective. Though to write
Sure,
it in
the
such a
narration.
there was once this girl named Sonia, and there was this bitch Melina with a fucking weird ass mouth, and they lived like it's like that's just such an easy way to write that I just don't care for. Like the
Yeah, I
Transformers
tend to
movies
agree.
always start with here is the cube, the Allspark, blah blah blah, and they like it's just exposition dump of random dialogue from a character.
I wish more things would just do the Star Wars thing and just drop all the exposition you need. So if you want to complain about, oh, not enough is explained, it just checks that little box for
I love
you.
that.
But you don't have to
No,
read
yeah,
it.
dude, totally agree. Perfect example is the film Alien opens up with the name of the ship is the Nostromo. The crew is 6 passengers. It's a cargo ship of mineral ore, and it's transporting that mineral ore back to Earth. It says everything about the ship and the crew. Like it's just like a quick little factual description of what you're looking at, and then the movie starts. I love that.
Yep, I agree. So that two-parter is certainly the hardest to watch. The other one that like I really don't care for, though it is one of the coolest looking with all the CG animation they put into it, is the robot one. I don't know those characters' names off the top of my
Sector
head,
and
though.
Cyrax.
Yeah, like that one. I just have no idea what the fuck's going on in that episode.
Yeah,
And
they're
to
just
be
weird
fair, there's
characters.
no narration in that
And at that
episode
point,
at
that's like
all.
literally just Mortal Kombat at that point. Like that's that episode, that's not even like a spin on it tonally. Like that's what a Sector and Cyrax episode looked like probably.
See, I don't know enough about Mortal Kombat to really say. I don't know like what their origin was or whatever. I just like I saw that and I was like, what the fuck is going
Yeah, it's
on?
Mortal Kombat is really weird. It's a really weird mythology.
Oh, I mean it's convoluted as shit because it's had what like 20 games at this point, and you know what I wanted to have happen in Mortal Kombat Legacy. I wanted someone to do a friendship.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
Oh, you've never seen
A
those?
friendship?
Yeah, like it's when you have the opportunity to do a fatality on someone, but you input a certain code, and instead of killing them, you like offer them a cake, and it says like friendship, and then they're like your ally. Or
Maybe
whatever.
I don't know. Is that in like the most recent games, like Mortal Kombat X?
No, it's in some of the older 2D
Okay.
games.
Well then, you know what? I know what you're talking about. I've never played a game that still had that in it, I think.
Yeah, but
But I
that's
know what
what
you're
I want to
talking
see
about
in
because
Mortal
I actually
Kombat Legacy.
I understand what. Okay, I was imagining that in more of a recent game, but like I imagine what you're saying in like the 2D context, and it makes a lot more sense to me now. I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just one of those things where like, I, 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 I don't know enough about Mortal Kombat to really.
And I'm not like a
talk
Mortal
about
Kombat
it.
expert either. I just know who those characters are because I've played games with them in it.
Yeah, and I just want to say like the reason I picked this, is because someone requested it, and it is worth talking about. Okay, so what of Legacy? Since you're kind of lukewarm on it ish, what of Legacy do you think is the best episode or two-part episode?
I really liked the Johnny Cage episode. I really liked. I really I think that there was a lot of potential in the Sonya and Jax episode. I didn't love that one as much, but I think there was like a lot of cool potential there. I think that hold on, what were all the episodes? What was Johnny Cage? There's the Melina and Katana episode. There was Raiden. Okay.
Sector,
Cyrax.
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Scorpion Sub-Zero. I think my favorite episode might have been Johnny Cage.
Yeah, I think so too. That's just the most Like, it is the most down-to-earth take, but it's when things just start to get weird, and that's what I liked about it. I'm not sure what the hell Shang Tsung is doing recruiting Johnny Cage for Mortal Kombat. I'm assuming that's explained in Season 2. I don't know. Because Johnny Cage is supposed to fight for Earthrealm, and Shang Tsung wouldn't recruit for Earthrealm. So... yeah. Otherwise, no, I like the Johnny Cage episode quite a bit, too. It's the most realistic take. You feel for him the most. It's just the most, like, dark and depressing thing at times. It's just cool.
Yeah, and it just felt... It was just cool to ground that character again. I don't know. Like, that's what I liked about it, is that it was just, like... It was believable because the take they took on the character was so grounded that, like, that totally passed.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I'm reasonably sure it's the same actor from Rebirth.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And you see like a brief clip of like Johnny Cage stuff in transition. You see like images of the Johnny Cage documentary or whatever. So I think that episode is, at least until the end, the most grounded, or the most close to the original interpretation of Rebirth that they were going to do.
Yeah. Can we also mention, though, that he dies in Rebirth?
Yeah.
It was Rebirth.
He dies. Yeah, he dies in Rebirth, so obviously they're not in continuity, but like...
It's so
if they
weird.
Were going
I was
to
like,
do,
why
like,
did they kill him? Why did Baraka kill Johnny Cage?
Before Mortal Kombat.
What? I'm like, what is this bullshit?
Who fucking knows?
It's such a weird choice.
Yeah. And that's part of why I like that they kind of ignore Rebirth.
Yeah,
and just
you're
go
right.
off
It was
and
better
start
to restart. Over. I just wish it started more Rebirthy.
Yeah, that's fair. The grounded tone is cool. I think the more, grounded with a hint of mysticism works a lot better. And you could just, tune up the... Because the thing about the Sub-Zero and Scorpion episode is it has magic in it, but it's not, like, distracting or overwhelming.
Okay, how would this be? How cool would this be? I think this would be awesome. This is my take on Mortal Kombat. You do the gritty street combat that is really grounded, but magic is involved. So you have like this like underground, imagine like underground Ninja Turtles environment, Mortal Kombat, where it's like people meet under the ground in like these like horrible like dens and places and stuff like that, and they have like fighting tournaments, and like they have this big city tournament called like Mortal Kombat. There's all these different gangs that identify as the realms, and they all like actually have magic though, and like that would be my Mortal Kombat. I think that would be awesome as shit.
It could work.
Grimy ghetto apocalypse Mortal Kombat.
It could work. I don't know. I like the approach of Legacy overall. It does have its problems, though, is kind of where I'm coming down on it.
And that was off topic, but...
No, that's fine. For me, like I said, I really like the Sub-Zero Scorpion one. I think that's really cool, and it's just the right amount. It's a little more magic in it than the Raiden one, but not to the point where it's distracting from the story or alienating from the story and the emotion of what's going on. There's the sorcerer character whose name I can't recall off the top of my head that shows up at the end of that, and I do know, just because of God the fucking nightmare that is Mortal Kombat continuity that I've picked up from just a handful of the games. I think the whole idea is, and the fan film does a pretty good job of setting this up, or series, not fan film. Does a pretty good job of setting this up, wherein, so the sorcerer impersonates Sub-Zero and convinces and kills Scorpion in the process in order to convince him to fight for Netherrealm in Mortal Kombat as a chance to get revenge on Sub-Zero, is kind of the idea that goes on. And that's really fucking convoluted, but not so much so that just more time with it wouldn't sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about some of it, but I just like the tone of it, where there's magic involved, and it's just there. It doesn't need to be explained. Sub-Zero is just able to make ice just shoot out of the ground. They don't need to explain it at all. It worked for me.
Yeah.
Same with Raiden. Raiden was cool. Besides the Malia and Katana episodes, was there anything else that like really didn't work for you?
I wasn't, like I said, that was definitely the worst episode. I don't love the Cyrax and Sector episode just because it's kind of just like a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, it's cool though. Like it's fun to watch.
I agree. I like Rebirth. I like Legacy a little bit more. But I'd much rather watch either of those than either of the original Mortal Kombat movies. Like, no contest whatsoever every time I'm gonna pick Rebirth and Legacy, just because, God, they're so much better. Just hilariously better. There's this scene in Mortal Kombat Annihilation where Sub-Zero's twin brother, Sub-Zero 2, saves Liu Kang and tells him, "We will meet again," and then like more or less just walks off screen and then never shows up in the movie again. And so there's just a lot of stupid stuff like that in those movies where I like the fan film more. I just like the approach of it more. I'm excited to watch season 2. I'm gonna watch that on my own time. Might do a review of it at some point or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad we talked about Legacy and Rebirth together, because I don't know how much I would have to say about Rebirth on its own. What makes Rebirth really interesting to me is that Legacy happened because of it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. That it's strange that happened for Mortal Kombat and that hasn't happened for a lot of other things. Like, how cool would it be just to see an internet Batman series that was like it was like a 12 episode internet Batman series?
Joker blogs almost kind of made it happen, but then something went wrong along the way. I'm not sure what. Either they just quit, but I've got the sneaking suspicion they received a cease and desist. Because I know Warner Brothers at one point, I know that Warner Brothers was aware of the Joker blogs and seemed to more or less give it their blessing to just keep doing it. But then as they were going into like starting up their second season, it just stopped uploading episodes, and there hasn't been a word from the creators ever since. So I think I have the sneaking suspicion they got a cease and desist. And they do. I know the actors and creators did want to work with Warner Brothers. They had a pitch for like a Gotham General show that they wanted to get done, and so if they were working with Warner Brothers, then they wouldn't want to piss them off by continuing to make Joker vlogs. So that's the only thing up that alley that I could think of where the studio kind of sanctioned a fan film for any kind of, or a fan series rather. Yeah. Anyway,
Mortal Kombat. Dun, 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 dun.
Are you good, or are you gonna start doing the part where they say all the characters'
No.
names?
Liu Kang.
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
Scorpion. That is like the most goofy part of that song.
I know, and it's so weird that song's like gone beyond Mortal Kombat because like I remember in middle school we had like a kids circus where like this like group came to our school and you got to join this like it was called like Circus of the Kids, and all these kids got to be in the circus and do like circus acts. Like and they would do like a balance beam, and some of them knew how to do like things on like on a rope. They could like climb up a rope and do all these like poses and stuff in the air. And like kids would do all of this stuff with this like circus company that would come and like help some kids learn new things and like learn how to do things that could like help them and like they just like learn weird exercises and weird crap and like do a show. And like one of the acts was like these kids had to like walk across these like wheelbarrow things, kind of like where you know how like if you walk on a log, you have to like walk backwards to go forwards and stuff like that. They had to do like those, and like they were playing music and like they were playing the Mortal Kombat music. And these like middle school girls are just like going back and forth on these like wheelbarrow things, and then it's like Mortal Kombat. Can you please get that as the theme song for this episode or some cover of that song?
What, Mortal Kombat? Of course. I'm gonna use 331.
Yes.
331 Rocks cover.
Yes.
I never talk about that guy enough. We could almost do a fan episode, like a fan film, fan music review episode of all of 331 Rock's library because his stuff is amazing, and I've been using it for years. And he just doesn't care, I guess. Because I've asked for permission and he never, like, replied. So I'm like, fuck it, dude. You don't have any licensing put on these, so I'm going to fucking use them.
We're going to steal your work because we can legally.
Oh, it's not stealing.
I know, it's not
I
stealing.
give him credit every time, and I use, like, 30 seconds of it.
We're going to credit you whether you want credit or not, buddy.
Right. But anyway, like we could do a whole thing on him. He did a really cool cover of Mortal Kombat that I'll use. But yeah, it's a good fan series. Thank you for the overly elaborate story about kids and circuses playing Mortal Kombat music. Let's go ahead and do a rating. Let's do 2 ratings today. One for Rebirth and one for Legacy Season 1. I'll give Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Originally I would have given it a 4 out of 5. It hasn't aged incredibly well. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5 heads in the refrigerator.
Wait, can you repeat what you said of what?
3.5 out of 5 heads in a refrigerator.
Okay.
And for Legacy, I'll give it a 4. I think it's strong enough for a 4 even with its problems. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Poor girls in a mental ward that have been told it's okay to kill a person. Like, I feel really bad for her. What's her life like after the Raiden episode? She just fucking murdered somebody. How's the hospital gonna explain that shit? Furthermore, what the fuck was that hospital doing? Just, like, like, committing someone who was just on the grounds in a white outfit. Where the hell did they get off? Oh. Yeah, I'll give it 4 out of 5. Poor girls living at a mental institution that have just murdered someone and have now no future because of that.
I will.
How about you, Rasco?
Okay, I will give Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Right? That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fan film. I'll give Mortal Kombat Rebirth 4 missing letters on a door labeling your name on your office. But the missing letters. I will give it 4 missing letters out of 5. And then I will give Or actually, you know what? I'm gonna change that one. I'm gonna give it 4 mutant baby, like reptilian babies, out of 5. And then I'm gonna give Mortal Kombat Legacy. I'm gonna give Mortal Kombat Legacy gets. For me, I'm gonna give that one a 3.5 out of shit. I don't know what to give it. A 3.5. Raiden hats out of 5.
That he just steals from a man for no reason.
Yeah, Raiden hats. 'Cause the Raiden hat is cool.
Yeah. You know, I should have brought this up earlier, but I want to talk about Reptile and Rebirth real quick because you made me think of something. So there was a point made on this show quite a while ago about the character Black Mask from the Batman comics, who just has a skull for a face.
Yes.
And, like, I just, you just imagine that guy on trial, and it's like, my client is innocent, and someone going like, your dude has a skull
He's fucking
for a
Satan,
face.
man!
Your dude has a skull for a face. He is clearly guilty. And you know what? I feel bad for Reptile. He has no choice but to become a serial killer. No, he wasn't even supposed to live for 2 weeks. You're supposed to grow up for 30 years looking like that motherfucker and just be, not a serial killer by the end of it? Come on now.
And by the way, I'm sick and tired of people assuming things about Black Mask just because of his skin, his color. Okay, hashtag Black Lives Matter, Black Skin Lives, Black Mask Lives Matter, dude. I'm assuming just because he's got a black mask.
Right.
It's your white mask privilege.
And then, like, some motherfucker in the comments is gonna be all like, yeah, fucking black man, and it's, like, gonna get super racist.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? Like, someone will make a joke that is, like, vaguely, just kind of making fun of the whole PC SJW culture and all that stuff. And then someone will take it as, like, license to be really, really fucking racist.
Well, you know, that's the thing. There's layers, and there's layers of society, and where, like, different things are okay, and then oftentimes you'll be in a room, and sometimes someone just like someone might lean to you and say something that's kind of racist, and you're just like, whoa, you just kind of assumed that I was as racist as you. Whoa.
Topic for another day.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, I'm sorry, buddy.
Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Rasco, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're talking about a fan film, and we're returning to a franchise. The fan film in question is Joker Rising.
Yay.
Which is a Joker fan film about the Heath Ledger Joker character. It's a prequel to The Dark Knight.
Should be intriguing. I don't know. I'm excited. I will probably be very, very hard on that fan film, having not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's got really, the music in it has been copyrighted as shit. It just blatantly uses copyrighted music. So you might want to watch it quick, because it might not be on the internet very long, but
yeah, we'll see. No, I'm gonna be a lot harder on that, being as in love with the Joker blogs as I am. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
What am I, dude? I don't even know what I. You know what? I'm Rasco.
Indeed, you are.
I'm Rasco. Okay.
And we're your geeky gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.